Welcome back. This is our demonstration for assignment number 2, in which we will use Google Earth and have a search engine component unrelated to Google Earth. So our objectives include the following. By using Google Earth, we will reinforce some concepts using the graphics user interface. That is, in the case of the IBM computers, Windows. And becoming more familiar with desktop icons, menu selections, launching applications, pointing, dragging, and clicking a mouse, use of menu bars, toolbars, status bar, taskbar, and minimizing, maximizing, and closing using those buttons, and sizing our windows using scroll bars, and continuing our learning about storage devices and where we store files in folders, and saving and retrieving files. With regards to Google Earth, why use Google Earth? Well, number one, it leads to reinforcing concepts previously mentioned with the graphics user interface, or Windows. It's a great introduction to global navigation, combining GPS with three-dimensional software, which in this case come from the Google people, and to show how this can be used as a computerized tool to demonstrate subjects such as geology, geography, navigation, history, and finally, it's fun. This should be the most fun assignment we do. Finally, through the use of the search engine, we can further refine our skills in looking up information. Let's talk first of all about navigation. We've launched Google Earth here, but before we get into Google Earth, let me open an image I created through Paint, similar to what you would have done in the previous assignment. This image is of the globe of planet Earth, and navigators hundreds and hundreds of years ago came up with a method of laying a grid across the globe made up of horizontal and vertical lines. The vertical lines are called longitudes, and they stretch from the North Pole to the South Pole. Now this dates back at least to Christopher Columbus, and since he was familiar with this kind of navigation, it probably predates him. But we know at the time that Columbus set forth on his famous voyage of 1492 that he was known throughout Europe and by most of royalty throughout Europe as the finest living navigator of his day. Navigators and mariners could pinpoint their location by identifying which longitude or vertical line they were on and which horizontal line they were on, or latitude. There are 300 and 60 longitudes. Longitude 0 would be this one that passes right here through Greenwich, England. And that has been longitude 0 for hundreds of years. And going west, there are then one by one 360 longitudes, because there are 360 degrees in a circle. There's a longitude for every degree on the globe. Latitude 0 is at the equator. Latitude 90 would be the North Pole. Latitude -90 or 90 south would be the South Pole. And from the South Pole to the equator, there are 90 latitudes, and likewise gone from equator to the North Pole. Now, if a mariner could affix which latitude and longitude they were on, the mariner could determine exactly where on the globe they were. The early forms of this navigation required dead reckoning. The mariners used instruments such as the sextant, along with charts, to determine which latitude they were on. Longitudes were harder to determine. The mariners had to use a compass to determine which direction they were traveling. Let me activate the pencil. They then had to determine the speed of the ship along with the direction, and from that they could mathematically calculate, based on speed, direction, angle, which longitude they were on. It was very difficult for them to do that, and there were inaccuracies. But Christopher Columbus was known as the finest dead reckoning navigator of his day. 200 or 300 years later, Captain James Cook of Great Britain was considered the greatest dead reckoning navigator of his day. He is the one who discovered many of the islands in the Pacific, including Hawaii, that he named the Sandwich Islands, but were later renamed Hawaii. This method was used until the British government offered a cash prize to whoever could come up with a better method of navigation. There was an individual who set out to solve that problem. However, after many, many years of working on the problem, he passed away, but his sons picked up his work and successfully completed it. That led to the invention of the chronogram, which actually is a watch that could keep time. Navigators then set the watch to the exact time of longitude 0 that passes through Greenwich, England. When out at sea, the mariners would determine which latitude they were on using the sextant and navigation charts, but they would wait until the sun reached high noon. They knew where they were at. It was noon, 12 o'clock. They would look on the chronogram or the watch set to Greenwich, England, and it would tell them what time it was in Greenwich, England. They, knowing that it was noon where they were, could see the time differential, and then based on which latitude they were on, they could mathematically calculate the longitude. This method of using time was the primary means of navigation from the late 1700s until the 1980s. In the 1980s, satellites were launched into space, introducing GPS, Global Position Satellites, GPS. And from the 1980s to this day, we have used GPS. Through the use of satellites sending radio signals to our cell phone or the GPS unit in our car, the signals from the satellites can be interpreted, and the GPS electronic device can affix within about 50 feet our exact latitude and longitude. So again, latitude and longitude defines where we are on Earth. If we can see which latitude, which longitude, we can look on maps and determine exactly where we are on Earth. That'll be defined by the intersection of which longitude and which latitude we are on. That takes us now to Google Earth. The Google people made an arrangement with the federal government about 15 to 20 years ago to obtain satellite images of planet Earth. They then developed the three-dimensional software that overlaid the satellite images. And for you and I, we're able to produce 3D images of almost any place on Earth. Now, I remember when Google Earth was introduced. It was two-dimensional and was flat, was rather crude. But year by year, it has steadily improved. Your assignment is to pick out your favorite place on Earth or your favorite vacation site and zoom in on it in Google Earth. Now, you should set up these settings based on what you're asked to do in this area of the instructions. Then begin using the navigation tools to zoom in. Okay, I'm zooming in to my favorite place on Earth. And here it is, the Yosemite Valley. Your instructions are to zoom in within a few hundred feet of ground level. Then use the navigation tools to reposition your point of view and then change the angle of view so that you see the horizon. Okay, I'm a few hundred feet above ground level, and I've tilted to see the horizon. You then are to give the navigational readings. Snap a picture, follow the instructions up here using the menu items to capture a picture, and then paste it into a word processor. Then below, write your name, last 4 digits of your NSHE number, your section number, and your assignment number. List your site, in this case Yosemite National Park, and the navigational pointers. Here are the navigational pointers. It says I am at 37 degrees, 44 minutes, and 42.21 seconds north of the equator. And I'm 119 degrees, 34 minutes, and 28.17 seconds west of Greenwich, England. My eye elevation is 5,906 feet above sea level. However, ground elevation, that is if I went straight down to the ground, is 3,978 feet above sea level. So write those down on the paper that you will submit. Now again, capture an image from Google Earth, paste it into the word processor, write in this information in the word processor, and then produce a PDF file by going into File, Print, and select Microsoft Print to PDF and click the print button to save your PDF file. That's one of 2 items you will turn in. Next, cut and paste this worksheet into a word processor and answer the following 7 questions that you're asked. It's highly likely that nobody in class knows the answers to these questions, but use the search engine of your choice to find the answers to the questions. Print this worksheet out, or since it's in a word processor, type in the results you found, and then likewise File, Print, and Microsoft Print to PDF, and print it. And that is the second item you will submit for your assignment. Google Earth should be the most fun assignment you do through this session or semester. Hopefully this all makes sense. Feel free to email me if something is a little unclear. But once you've learned to use Google Earth, you will have a lot of fun going to any place on Earth. And it's like virtually being there, even though you're not. Well, have a great time doing this assignment. We wish you the best of luck and best wishes on it, and have a great day. Thank you.